Captain C.W. Jensen. I've been a cop for 19 years. I hope this program is going to be an eye-opener for you. I hope that you get to see what I've seen, the tragedy, the hurt that comes when people run from the police.
We begin in Southern California with the pursuit of a suspected bank robber. Since LA is the bank robbery capital of the world, this is one of the most typical reasons for pursuit.
Units in the chase, be advised, Sheriff's Office and PD are involved.
There are now several police agencies involved in this chase. Unbelievably, this man has been running from the police for over an hour, covering more than 90 miles of streets and freeways and driving at speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour.
Units, northbound now. Still northbound.
He is shooting through intersections with no concern for his own safety or the safety of anyone on the street.
Units, be advised, he's coming up on Lakewood. He's traveling at a high rate of speed.
Notice that the police are not following him through those busy intersections.
This guy, he's going over the curb, across the grass, right into the intersections. He's not slowing down for cross traffic.
Watch what happens as he tries to outrun this truck at the intersection.
Ooh, he hit.
He is hit by that truck, and the force of the impact threw him into the curb. But he is not stopping. He is not even slowing down. What you are about to see now is incredible.
There's smoke coming from the right front of the vehicle.
Now the tire is coming apart. Fragments of the tire are flying off the car. Still, he isn't slowing down.
Advise direction. Subject vehicle now getting on the southbound car.
Determined to make one last run for it, he gets back on the freeway.
Suspect vehicle southbound approaching Crescent.
Even though the car is disabled, he is still staying ahead of the police.
Whoa, he just lost his front wheel. It's collapsed. There's sparks flying. Still southbound, vehicle disabled.
He has no tire and he is still not giving up. He is maintaining his speed, still passing vehicles on the freeway. You can see he is actually digging a furrow into the pavement.
Driving on the brake cylinder right now. Stand by. Taking his off foot now. Foot pursuit. Now across the center divider. He's running eastbound across the northbound lanes.
He is running across 4 lanes of freeway traffic. It is incredible that he hasn't been killed.
He's climbing that fence now. He has something in his hand. Looks like he dropped the money. Stand by. He's flicking it out.
In a ridiculous moment of bad judgment, he's actually stopping to pick up the money.
I'm stuck on this side of the freeway. There's a unit just north of him. Right now, he's climbing that fence now.
He is surrounded, but he still isn't giving up.
Units advised, still on foot. There's a unit just north of him.
So the police have their man, and the bank got their money back. One big loser today is this man's sister, who loaned him her car to go to the store. People who run from the law don't stop to think about the innocent people that might be affected by what they do. Take, for example, our next chase, captured by a film crew riding in a police car.
18829, we're southbound Alameda, Fernwood Avenue.
Los Angeles. This innocent passenger was trapped when her best girlfriend decided it would be fun to run from the police.
I was screaming, please, pull over, don't do this, please, I have a baby.
The car was stolen.
We're now in pursuit.
I was scared. I was really scared. I was like, if I die, what's gonna happen to my daughter? Just pull over, Maria.
The accident seemed inevitable.
When she had turned the corner, we hit a car. I was having my hands over my head. I wanted to throw myself out of that car.
But even then, her friend didn't stop.
In Wilmington, we're now continuing pursuit northbound of Wilmington.
They didn't stop for other cars, and they didn't stop for red lights.
10849 northbound Wilmington, approaching 103rd.
After we turned there, then we hit a pole, and we cut the front end, and that's because I had put the car in park. Because I went up front and I put the car in park, and she got the car, put it back in reverse, and just went out.
They were just plain not going to stop.
I really thought I was going to die. I really thought that I wasn't going to see my baby no more. And I told her, don't, Maria, please.
Oh, Daddy, this is a Triple E ticket.
18849, passing Kalmaya. 18829, we're eastbound 108, passing Mona.
You're approaching Alameda. It's just been out here.
But eventually, their luck had to run out.
18849, we're still eastbound Imperial, passing Long Beach Boulevard.
Hey, Airship, she's about ready to lose this left rear tire. The tire's gone.
18849, we're still eastbound Imperial. 18849, we're code 6, Martin Luther King at Norton.
Get on the ground right there. Get on the ground right now.
pursuit ends in arrest and humiliation.
I don't want to go to jail, man. Don't run, I'm serious. You can't get away. You cannot get away.
But to every police officer who ever gave chase, these pursuits all have one thing in common: fear.
Every pursuit starts out with an unknown ending. You're gonna start to sweat, you're gonna breathe hard, your heart's gonna be pounding, your ears gonna be ringing. All those things happen. You can't help it.
Garland, Texas. Pursuit of a robbery suspect armed with a shotgun.
Dallas police began the pursuit. Texas DPS has now taken the lead.
This is exactly the type of heart-pounding chase that cops hate. Heavy traffic and a desperate suspect.
I have seen him at times up to 90 miles an hour. He's on the inside lane, which is fortunate for the rest of the driving traffic.
This man is willing to take any risk, suddenly pulling off the road and then pulling back into oncoming traffic.
As he was passing, he had a lot of stuff in the back of his truck, and stuff was flying out, and I can see that the troopers were very cautious how they approached the truck.
The police are trying to get the entrances to the freeway closed.
So they are getting ahead of at some of the on-ramps here and stopping the flow of traffic. But obviously, you can't stop every car at this time of the afternoon, 2:30 in the afternoon.
Watch what happens as he tries to weave through the heavy traffic to get ahead of the police.
Yeah, Sean, we're hearing now that the Garland Police Department is involved in the chase also. And it looks like they've taken up positions behind the Texas DPS. Oh, there he goes. There he goes. Oh, it's turned over. The truck just crashed.
He misjudged by inches, clipped the left bumper on the truck, and never regained control. The police aren't taking any chances.
That's the vehicle. Texas DPS coming out with guns drawn. They've surrounded the vehicle, and they're waiting to see if there's any movement from inside the vehicle.
But the driver was unconscious, and everyone involved was still in shock.
He was in the lane, passed me in the lane right next to me, and cut across over in the fast lane. He was moving pretty good. Oh yeah. I mean, he was blowing traffic away.
It took 45 minutes to get the man out of the truck and get traffic moving again. And he was on the way to the hospital. As Captain Jensen said, nobody knows for sure how a pursuit will end, but there are 3 strong possibilities. You may, like this man, go to the hospital, or you may go to jail, or you may not be so lucky. Callahan County, Texas.
There you go.
Here's an angry 16-year-old driver who thought he could outrun the law. Incredibly, the teenage driver survived with a broken back. San Diego, California. Here we get a chance to see a high-speed pursuit from inside a San Diego police helicopter.
We're involved in a chase, trying to catch up to it. And he is high speed. 22, George, we're in position.
This chase began when the police spotted a suspicious car near a local high school.
And this guy's very 505, passing all kinds of people on the wrong side of the road. He's hauling.
This is the actual police radio transmission. Notice the helicopter pilot's reaction as the suspect hits a van on this narrow road.
Holy smokes. Man, this guy is driving like a total idiot.
In San Diego, they have a problem most cities don't. The suspect knows that if he can get across the border into Mexico, the police can't follow him.
He's going towards the border. Man, he's outrunning me. Speed is about 90 to 100. He's taking the last U.S. exit.
He's going to run. If he runs, Kevin, I'm going to put this thing down.
He's going over I-5 westbound on Dairy Mart.
Holy, he almost hit that construction guy. He's going to bail and go over the fence. I know.
He's going to run across the fence here. Yeah, he's going to Mexico. Hang on, watch the cranes.
I got the cranes. But the trees are going to get me in the way here. I'm climbing.
Before they could land, the suspect got over the fence and across the border.
Okay, well, he is in Mexico. Hispanic male, white t-shirt, black pants, white tennis shoes.
This is one of those times the bad guy got away, but he left something behind.
Temporary advisor, he is across the border going into Mexico.
Hidden in the undercarriage of the car, they found 3 pounds of cocaine with a street value of $150,000. His drug-dealing friends in Mexico may make him wish that he'd been caught in the USA.
Oh, he's hit. He's hit.
And he is high speed.
Coming up on World's Scariest Police Chases. Top speed, red line, pedal to the metal. The world's fastest pursuits. And the most unusual chases ever caught on tape.
He's getting out of control.
A crazed bus driver rams the police.
He's hitting the highway patrol units like toys.
A runaway tank terrorizes a town.
This guy is crazy.
Speed, the ultimate thrill, the American dream. For the love of speed, we've built faster machines and better roads. But when you combine speed with desperation, you get the world's fastest pursuits.
People in the community expect the police to catch crooks. Unfortunately, sometimes the crooks don't want the police to catch them. If you can get away, you're going to get away with whatever you have. Trains, planes, and automobiles, it doesn't matter. You're going to try to get away.
Los Angeles, California. An undercover officer attempted to stop this man for questioning. We're listening to the live broadcast of helicopter reporter Bob Turr flying directly above the pursuit.
The suspect has no regard for stoplights, stop signs, now traveling on surface streets off of Imperial at 120 miles an hour. He's wanted for 245, assault with a deadly weapon. Back on the freeway, westbound 91. Woo, yeah, this is a fool. Right now, we're just amazed that nobody has been killed, including the driver. This is one of the most dangerous pursuits. Wanted for assault with a deadly weapon, using the motorcycle as that deadly weapon. He's had numerous close calls, almost hit a car, and now moving, continuing eastbound, now moving at, we're showing 100 miles an hour, accelerating, passing a big rig. This suspect being chased by the Garden Grove Police Department, at least initially. They gave up the ground pursuit, turned it over to the air units, and so far the air units have been trailing the suspect. It is a red Honda, speeds in excess of 120 miles an hour, and then now off the freeway. And I gotta tell you something, those were speeds, some of those high speeds were on surface streets through residential neighborhoods. There he goes. There he goes. Suspect down, suspect down.
But amazingly, the man is still not subdued.
He's now struggling. He's struggling with the police. He's actually fighting the police officer as they try to handcuff him.
Pursuit driving is probably one of the most exciting things a policeman can do. Because of the adrenaline dump, it becomes a very exciting event. You become challenged. This is what's called in many circles contempt of cop. This person running from you has disobeyed you, and you're going to go get him.
Tampa, Florida. Pursuit of teenagers in a stolen car. This has to be one of the briefest pursuits in history. From the time these teenagers first see the police, decide to make a run for it, hop the curb, hit the tree, careen back onto the road, lurch once more into the park, and finally stall out in less than a minute.
When you get in a pursuit, you've got two human beings in two real fast cars, but one of them has been trained, and one of them falls back on that training.
Primary unit identify.
Los Angeles. This high-powered luxury car is stolen and the driver is desperate. He's been clocked going 120. The suspect not only has the advantage of a very powerful car, but he's more than willing to smash into anyone who gets in his way.
Please identify direction of travel.
The police, however, aren't going to be baited into driving as fast or as wildly as the suspect. He may have a much faster car, but the officers have the advantage of skill and training. At these speeds, it's only a matter of time until the car thief makes that one big mistake.
Get your hands out to your sides with your palms up!
We're now in Phoenix, Arizona, where the pursuit of a stolen pickup truck turns into a tragedy. This brand new truck was stolen from in front of a convenience store less than 20 minutes before.
Okay, now this person's more or less boxed in, but look at that. Cut right into town. This person seems bent on a rather suicidal path. Very heavy traffic, slowing this fellow down somewhat. They keep on taking the center lane.
The high-powered truck has managed to stay well ahead of the police.
Cruiser coming up ahead has the road partially blocked, going right through that intersection into a residential neighborhood now here on the west side of town, and on the smaller two-lane residential. It is just crazy. I just can't believe it. All right, one on its side, roll the we've had a very, very serious collision down below us here. The worst case scenario has in fact occurred.
Incredibly, the driver of the truck is ejected from the cab and thrown clear of the wreck as it shatters around him. Amazingly, he avoids being crushed as the truck rolls over and over. Dazed from the crash, he staggers to his feet and once more tries to get away. But this time, he doesn't get far.
I changed the direction.
Miraculously, the driver of the other car survived. People who run from the law all have one thing in common. At some point, they all think they can get away. Minneapolis, Minnesota, a dangerous, high-speed pursuit of a fleeing bank robber.
The bank robbery party is armed, cell phone from Highway 5 now.
As smart as we try to be, as innovative as we try to be, there are some times when these situations will conclude with deadly force.
This is a case where the bank robber is believed to be firing at the police. The police decide to shoot out his tires.
We want to pull up behind him in a clear spot. We're going to take his tires now with a shotgun.
An officer with a shotgun takes aim behind the fleeing car.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Valley Creek Road.
Shots fired.
I believe the suspect vehicle is smoking. 61. His tire is out.
Officers will use deadly force when that moment comes, when they realize that they must do it to protect the life of someone else.
The driver still refuses to surrender. When all else fails, the officers are ordered to force the vehicle off the road.
Bank robbery is a very serious crime. When officers are being shot at, it's a natural instinct to shoot back. And I don't have a problem with that if you're not putting the public at risk.
Yeah, be advised, I got a signal 19. He's doing well over 90 now. He's not stopping.
Albuquerque, New Mexico. Pursuit of armed suspects. Here's a situation where the bad guys had a souped-up car that was much faster than the patrol cars. Unable to stop the suspects in the stolen car, the officer asked for assistance from the truckers up ahead.
Any 18-wheeler is monitoring this TV channel. There's a deputy sheriff pursuit southbound of a red vehicle. We need some assistance here.
Fortunately, one of the truckers is an ex-deputy sheriff from Alabama.
Officer, not to your lights now. Is that the little red car coming up behind you there? He's coming right behind you now, coming up on your left. High rate of speed. Oh yeah, I got him coming up here now. Move it over.
Racing down the center divider, the suspects try to accelerate past the truck. Barely missing another police car, the suspects pull back onto the road. Now it's getting deadly. What happened next surprised everyone. Realizing they would never get past the truck and might actually die trying, these two desperate suspects finally just gave up. Thanks to a helpful trucker. More to come on World's Scariest Police Chases. A maniac in a tank.
Yeah, he's rolling over just about anything he wants to.
Bus driver goes berserk.
He's hitting the highway patrol units like toys.
Pursuit and consequences. The people who run and the price they pay.
I've been acting stupid, obviously, right?
He's going to TC. Here's TC.
Get an ambulance down here. Get an ambulance.
If you're ever tempted to run, take 1 second to think about the consequences and who pays the price. Because if you run fast enough, and if it all goes right, you might just get away. But who picks up the pieces when it all goes wrong?
What scares police officers is to be chasing a bad guy and to have that bad guy smash into a car that 30 seconds earlier was just somebody going to the 7-Eleven to get a quart of milk. That's what scares cops.
Atlanta, Georgia. Here we see the all too frequent tragedy of a driver who thinks he can outrun the police.
Okay, he's not stopping, Atlanta. Okay, I'm getting him over an emergency light. Okay, he's trying to run on me now. He's getting off on the loop.
This is a police officer's nightmare. This driver has passed the officer. Thinks if he goes just a little faster, maybe he can get away.
Hey, Greg, get in an ambulance down here. here. Give me an ambulance, Atlanta.
The fleeing truck is struck by one car, lifted in the air, and then struck broadside by another. What you're about to see now is a grisly story of one man's crime and punishment. This pursuit began as a robbery in a suburb of Denver, Colorado. The teller in the bank recognized this man, Philip Hutchinson. As soon as the bank robber left, the teller called the police and the chase was on.
All officers, 4593, a white over brown blazer.
A news helicopter watched as the thief raced through suburban streets trying to elude the police.
Adams County, it's reportedly Adam William Tom 271.
Attempts to stop him turned into a deadly game of chicken. One officer couldn't get out of the way in time. As the helicopter pilot watched in horror, the suspect hit the officer, killing him instantly. Hutchinson never slowed down.
Yeah, we got an officer down here.
And we need an ambulance.
But moments later, he lost control of his vehicle coming out of a turn and smashed into a tree. Taking the money and the gun, he ran through empty yards looking for another vehicle, trying to stay ahead of the police.
He's out of the car. It's following us.
Because of radio difficulty, the helicopter pilot was unable to tell anyone exactly where the suspect was. In a nearby parking lot, the bank robber spotted a young woman in a car with her baby. He tried to force his way into her car. Infuriated when the woman would not stop, he pulled out the gun and began to fire.
When he first come up and opened my door, the thing I was thinking, he's going to be in my car. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? What's going to happen? Is he going to kill me? And that's whenever I've never seen a man with a gun put his hand on my child, and that's whenever I realized, and I took off. Thought he shot my baby for some reason because the door's open. I hear a gunshot, and I thought for sure he had shot him. I thought I was dead.
Within moments, he had found another hostage, forcing a 73-year-old man to drive him out of town.
Boy, I said, this is it, John. I don't think you'll see tomorrow. He told me that I was a dead man if I didn't hurry and start that car.
He told the man he would kill him if he made any attempt to signal the police. The police finally come to where the helicopter is hovering, but the suspect hides on the floor of the truck, and all the police see is an old man driving slowly down the street.
While I'm climbing up, I bring the power in the helicopter to start climbing up, and the police cars drive past him. And Jim and I start screaming, what? And that's when I decided I needed to do something else. I had what's called a window of opportunity, which was maybe 10 seconds. I had to do it now, or it was history.
The pilot realized that if the truck got to the main road, this man would probably kill the hostage. At that point, he dropped the helicopter in front of the fleeing truck.
Then that helicopter is on the ground right in front of me. I can't move nowhere. And he told me, ram it. Ram it. And that blade was going around and everything. And I said, oh, my God. We're going to get cut in pieces or something's going to happen to us. Then pretty soon, bang, 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 bang. Oh, God, my.
The helicopter was able to block the truck while the police came up from behind. The suspect pointed his gun at the police and then tried one final time to kill the hostage. But in the midst of all this shooting, one officer was able to pull the elderly man out of the truck, thus saving his life.
When the officer decides to pursue, I think the thought process is the same as if he or she is going to shoot or not to shoot. And the end result could be as serious, if not more so, because this is the same as a 2,000-pound bullet.
Here we are in Coronado Beach, California, with a typical and tragic example of a pursuit in which the person ran simply because they were being stopped for a ticket.
Okay, Abel, can you go ahead and call it?
Abel, we're 97 overhead.
Some people run thinking this is a game between them and the police. But to innocent bystanders, it isn't a game.
Okay, he's just 1183 at the next intersection. Keep going. Okay, he is bailed out. He is running.
Tragically, what the driver didn't realize was that an innocent bystander was sitting here, waiting for a bus. Miraculously, the bystander survived. Wayside Prison, Valencia, California. This man lost everything because of a joyride that led to a pursuit in which he hit a police officer.
I just had a crazy thought. I said, well, I can take this truck for a ride. And I jumped in, and I took off.
He was sentenced to a mandatory third strike, 50 years to life.
I didn't want nobody to get hurt. All I wanted to do was get away. Unfortunately, somebody did get hurt, and that person has to live with it. We both have to live with it.
Won't wait until these two LAPD officers finish their meal.
No, wait, gotta get this guy.
We're right there, too.
We're right, they're coming this way.
Yep. Somebody's in pursuit.
Get a primary unit in pursuit and a secondary unit in pursuit of a white utility truck. It's possible stolen vehicle.
They know the suspected vehicle will try to get out of the area.
Block the roads off. Block the roads off. There he is.
The other way.
The other way. Secondary.
This car quickly pulls ahead to take the lead position.
79X46 will be primary. Go in front of it. Right.
Now primary.
But the suspect has a plan to get away.
He's trying to get the accelerator to stay down so that he can bail out.
Accelerating rapidly, the suspect pulls ahead, almost losing control of his truck.
Okay, just lost his wheel. You're now eastbound.
Then the suspect's luck runs out.
Okay, he's gonna TC. Just TC.
The traffic collision turns into a foot pursuit. At this point, the man has everything to gain and nothing to lose. But the two police officers are just a little bit more determined and a little bit faster.
Suspect is in custody.
He's gonna order alcohol in his breath, so he's been drinking.
Yeah, I've been drinking. I'll tell you right now. If you look it up, I'm sure I got a couple DUIs.
North of 5108.
I've been acting stupid, obviously, right?
Drinking and driving and running from the law. And this man paid the price. Coming up, more action.
Big trouble. Yeah, that's putting him out, man.
On world's scariest police chases.
And he's backing up into a house.
Bizarre and unusual pursuits.
This was actually the most scared I've ever been in pursuit.
We just heard a crunching noise, crunch, crunch, crunch.
A suspect gets away. A woman falls out of her own car, and the highway patrol asks, how in the world do you stop a 14-ton bus?
He is now completely out of control.
Some pursuits are frightening, some are reckless, and some are just plain bizarre. These are some of the strange and unusual things that happen when people run from the law.
Oh, my God.
Inglewood, California. When it comes to bizarre chases, the police are still puzzled by this one. An officer saw the man and woman inside this car having an argument. But when the officer tried to stop the vehicle, the driver roared away without giving the woman a chance to close her door. Then when the driver executed this unusual U-turn, both the passenger and the driver fell out of the car.
Get on the ground! Ma'am, are you okay?
Even then, the officer couldn't get this man's attention.
I told you, get on the ground now! Get on the ground! Officer, she's with me. Get on the ground now! This don't make no sense.
Well, that's an example of why people will run, because they're arguing. There's no reason for them to run, but they run. They're obviously not buckled in with safety belts. The door flies open and they fall out. Fortunately, no one was hurt, and fortunately it ended up reasonably well, although I'm not sure where the car went after they fell out.
Sylmar, California. This suspect was ahead of the police until he made one slight error. But when someone really wants to get away, they don't let one little mistake slow them down. Watch what happens now. Incredibly, the man survived.
Stand by. Okay, he is on foot now. Foot pursuit. He is running now.
Clarkston, Michigan. One of our most unusual pursuits began when this officer stopped a drunk driver. The camera mounted on the dashboard of his car is running as he takes the intoxicated woman into custody. The officer handcuffs the woman with her hands behind her back and places her in the back seat of the squad car. But watch what happens when his back is turned. With the camera still rolling, the woman somehow gets into the driver's seat, gets her handcuffed hands in front of her, and roars off drunkenly down the road. Driving at speeds over 100 miles an hour, the handcuffed woman finally loses control, goes into a spin, and stalls in the middle of the highway, where the police find her moments later. The police car was not damaged. This was fortunate because the Clarkston Police Department only has 2 cars.
Nobody kisses their wife or their husband goodbye to go to work and say, honey, I hope I get into pursuit tonight. No one says that. No one wants that. No one asks for that.
Brentwood, California. In the history of horrifying pursuits, there has seldom been an equal to this nightmare on the highway. It began in San Diego when a disturbed man was turned down for a job at this bus company. He stole a bus that was parked at the terminal and then led the police on a terrifying 4-hour chase. The police could only follow and watch because, after all, how do you stop a bus?
Okay, on the 405 freeway, continuing to travel along the 405 freeway, California Highway Patrolman still following.
My partner and I ended up being the primary unit as it came down through Mulholland. Bus, big 3-axle bus, that's a lot of weight. So just having that large of a vehicle being driven by someone who obviously doesn't care what happens, that's what makes it dangerous.
Westbound Sunset Boulevard, he almost skidded out there, highway to speed. He's now skidding out. He's skidding out of control. This bus is out of control. Now he's moving out. He's okay across the center divider. Oh man, it's stopped. Will the pursuit stop? Cloud of smoke. Nope, he's still moving.
This was the most scared I've ever been in pursuit.
Okay, coming off the off-ramp here at Sunset Boulevard. He's okay, knocked out the lights, smashing a vehicle, smashing another vehicle into the intersection, rear-end accident. He's going now without lights. Police air unit overhead. California Highway Patrolmen are still in hot pursuit. He is now completely out of control. Sparks flying from this chain link fence that the driver has trapped underneath the bus. That is like a flying guillotine.
There was one point he was making turns on the roadway and he's dragging 15 to 20 feet of chain link fence. It's like crack the whip because the chain link fence is just spinning out and hitting cars. So he proceeded down Waterford, which is a dead-end street, and I pulled up behind him thinking we were going to do our normal felony stop, and I saw the backup lights.
Okay, he stopped. He stopped. Highway Patrolman now, wait a minute, he's backing up. He's backing up. He's hitting the Highway Patrol units like toys. They're smashing up like toys.
He just came straight down the right side of my vehicle. My partner was getting out, so I yelled at her to get back in. I think I even grabbed her shoulder, at which time the bus was already backing up. She had her feet outside of the vehicle, and she barely got back in the car when the bus